In this episode of American Greed, to adoring Ohio State Buckeye fans, Art Schlichter was once a gridiron great.
Guys wanted to be him, girls wanted to be with him. He was captivating, he was charming.
But off the field, Schlichter's been living a secret life.
I promise you, cross my heart and hope to die, that this check will never be cashed. Nobody will know that this happened.
He was a manipulator, and he could persuade people in doing whatever Art wanted.
Schlichter's also a compulsive gambler who lies and steals hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep the bets rolling.
I've conjured up every way possible to pay gambling debts off. It makes you very creative.
And when he sets his sights on a wealthy widow's millions, he's about to destroy them both.
I'll fuck my ass and your ass will be dead.
I'd never been around somebody that thought the thoughts that he thought and did the things that he did, ever. It was terrifying to me.
It's a cold, lonely December in Columbus, Ohio. And in 2010, Anita Barney is caught in a living nightmare.
I was a wreck. It was unbelievable what I was going through. I get shivers now thinking about it.
Barney has recently befriended former Ohio State quarterback Art Schlichter. Schlichter was once a living legend in Columbus, but now he's also an unstable ex-con hiding some dark secrets.
I just never knew anybody in this world existed like him. And I know he's not the only one, but it was new to me.
You're going to this up to the point where there will be no return.
Schlichter charms himself into Barney's life, but then through threats and intimidation, he helps himself to more than $1 million.
Write the check.
Now he's come looking for more.
He would just call me every name in the book and scream at me. I just didn't know where to turn or what to do. I was afraid of him, terrified of him.
Schlichter's desperate, and Barney has no idea what he's planning next.
And I really thought he was going to harm me, kill me, or kill us, something.
The meteoric rise and tragic freefall of Art Schlichter begins just outside the sleepy town of Bloomingburg in central Ohio. Schlichter is born in 1960 and grows up on his family's 1,000-acre farm, raising hogs, cattle, and soybeans.
It's like a painting of the American countryside. It's just all back roads and fields for the most part. And folks that live in that area, they're nice. You stop and ask for directions, they're gonna help you.
Schlichter may grow up a farmer, but he's a born athlete. From a young age, it's clear he's got something special.
This is a kid who in grade school could throw a football 65 yards in the air. He would score 50 points in a 7th grade basketball game like it was nothing. Like, coaches had to take him out of games because it wasn't fair.
In the mid-'70s, Schlichter is the starting quarterback at Miami Trace High School, and his team never loses a game when he takes the snap.
And he was the heads and shoulders above everybody else. There was no doubt he was going to play at a Division I school. He had his pick of schools.
And for a boy from central Ohio, there's only one school that really matters.
His talents demanded a bigger stage, and the biggest stage in Ohio is Ohio State football.
Fans love their Buckeyes. Fans love the idea of being part of this great tradition. And there's no question about it.
Jack Park is a radio broadcaster, author, historian, and lifelong Buckeye fan. He remembers vividly the excitement and anticipation when Schlichter took the field his first game.
And it was probably the loudest standing ovations I think I've ever seen in Ohio Stadium. It was a climax to what everybody was anticipating and was looking forward to, probably since Art had committed to coming to Ohio State the previous spring.
The freshman Schlichter is at quarterback.
Schlichter sets his first school record that game, but it's not one Coach Woody Hayes or 60,000 screaming fans want.
He threw 5 interceptions. That's still an Ohio State single-game record. And Penn State beat Ohio State that afternoon 19-0.
Schlichter's first-year record is an unremarkable 7 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. But his freshman year is famous for one of the great college football controversies of all time. the 1978 Gator Bowl.
Clemson had the lead 17-15, but the Buckeyes are moving right at the end of the game, and they have a 3rd down and 5 at the Clemson 24.
With time running out, Schlichter throws an interception to Clemson nose guard Charlie Bauman.
He was run out of bounds in front of the Ohio State bench. In a second of frustration, Woody Hayes struck Bauman, and of course the rest is history.
It's the end of Woody Hayes' storied 28-year coaching career, but it's just the beginning for Art Schlichter. He starts all 48 games he plays at OSU and comes 1 point short of winning a national championship his sophomore year.
And he finished his career with 7,547 yards, and to this day, that's the most passing yards ever by a quarterback in Ohio State football history.
Schlichter appears twice on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He's voted All-American, and he's a Heisman Trophy candidate 3 years running. The 6' 3" 190-pound star athlete even convinces his coaches to let him play OSU basketball when he's not tossing pigskins.
He got to play basketball against Magic Johnson while he was at Ohio State, and Magic was at Michigan State, which is pretty phenomenal.
Off the field, Schlichter's rising star makes him a king on campus.
He's the golden boy. Most people loved Art. They loved being around him. Guys wanted to be him. Girls wanted to be with him. He was captivating. He was charming. You know, he was the big man on campus and then some.
But the constant scrutiny and adulation must be very difficult for a small-town farm kid to easily adjust to.
So he learned at an early age how to become someone else. I think it became a habit over the years. There was the public Art and there was the private Art.
Schlichter says he doesn't drink or do drugs, but in later interviews, he does admit there is another way he learns to blow off steam.
Anytime that I wanted to get away or anytime that I felt like I needed to relieve some of the pressure, I always went to the racetrack.
In his autobiography, Busted, Schlichter says he and his high school buddies pool money and place their first bet on a harness race at nearby Scioto Downs racetrack.
They end up winning the bet. That was probably not a good thing for Art Schlichter, winning the first ever bet you make at a racetrack and winning thousands. I mean, that would be something that would latch on to him right from the beginning.
And I remember when I went home, I was so excited, and I thought, boy, this is a great way to make a little extra money. And so I went back.
Soon, Schlichter is a regular at the track, and before long, he is betting on other sports. The stakes start small, but he's hooked, he later admits.
The draw, the excitement, even the smell of the racetrack was something I just loved.
By his college junior year, Schlichter admits losing thousands of dollars betting on professional and college sports.
I kept looking for that high that I was getting on the football field, so I started looking for it in gambling.
Few outside Schlichter's inner circle know this darker side of him. To most, he is the all-American hero. A glowing biography written while he's still a student is titled Straight Arrow, and Art Schlichter seems to fit that description to a T. In the fall of his junior year, Schlichter visits the bedside of a local 10-year-old boy who is recovering from a horrific small plane crash that killed his father and 3 others.
And this was very genuine. There was no ulterior motive with this one. He just wanted to make a little boy feel better, and that's what he did.
The young boy's recovery has been long and painful, and he suffers from constant depression.
And then one day, out of the blue, Art Schlichter shows up, introduces himself, meets the boy, gives him some football memorabilia, and really made a difference in the boy's life.
Schlichter's act of genuine kindness deeply touches the boy's grieving mother, and she credits him with her son's recovery.
In her opinion, Art Schlichter saved her son's life. So she felt this huge emotional connection to him from that event.
The mother has no idea that the hero at her son's bedside will ruin her life 30 years later. In the spring of 1982, Art Schlichter scores big when he signs with the NFL's Baltimore Colts.
Not only was he the first quarterback taken that year, but Art, according to scouts, had the potential and the ability to be one of the very best quarterbacks the NFL had seen to that date.
Schlichter signs a 3-year contract, and he's given a $350,000 signing bonus on the spot. This sudden fortune might be the worst thing to ever happen to Art Schlichter.
Stacy Keach here, feeling greedy for more videos like this one? Then be sure to like and subscribe right here on CNBC Prime.